I'd like to welcome everybody to the Board of Adjustments February 23rd, 2010 meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order. A roll call of members. I'm President, Brad Walker, Chairman. Mr. Jim Cecil, Vice Chairman.
Present.
Mr. Milton Kluwat.
Present.
Ms. Kathy Desideer, absent. Mr. Bill Leet.
Present.
Mr. Ty Bro. Ty Leglue.
Present.
I don't know why, it's Bro. Stephen McGowan.
Present.
At this time, I'd like to open it for public comment period. This is a comment period that talks about the board in general. If you're here to talk about something that's on the agenda of one of the 4 agenda items, please, you'll have a chance to speak on each agenda item at that time. If anybody has anything to say about the board or about life in general, just come up to the front and speak your piece. Nobody coming up to the front. I'd like to close public hearing. I'd like to also have a motion acceptance of the minutes of January 26, 2010. There have been some corrections submitted already.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
I second.
26.
As
second.
corrected.
As corrected.
Motion by Tyler Glue, seconded by Mr. Jim Cecil. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. Motion to accept the written decisions of January 26, 2010 meeting.
So
I'd like
moved.
to make a motion to accept the minutes.
Motion by Mr.
The
Milton.
decisions.
Decisions for
Second.
motion by Mr. Milton, second by Stephen McGowan. All those approved?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We'll move on to the first agenda item, zoning review ID 2057.10, Lot 3 of Matthew J. Gotro, track for Joseph and Lisa Miller, located on the east side of D. Gotro, approximately 750 feet north of Cannon Road. Is there anybody here to talk about this variance? Okay. You just sign in right here by Lance and state your request.
We're ready. Okay, my name is Lisa Miller, and we built a house 3.5 years ago on D. Gotro Road. And at the time, the survey plat said that there was a 25-foot building line. So we went kind of according to that. We pushed the house a little bit further back, but now it's coming to our attention that we actually have a 55-foot building line because it's a parish-maintained road, and the surveyor wasn't aware of that at the time when he did the slab survey. So we're asking for a variance. It's actually 2.9 feet plus or minus, so you can see on the map, over the building line. But we'll also have a 1-foot overhang, so it's actually 3.9 foot over. So that's when we were asking for, a 4 or 5 foot variance. We don't really care which one, but we just need to get in compliance with the parish regulations.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
Got a question for Lance. I was looking at the ordinance today in the code book, and I didn't really understand where it said whichever is greater, because there's one that says 25-foot minimum frontage from the property line.
Yeah.
There's one that says from the center line of the road.
Yeah, what happens is that sometimes the property goes to the center line of the road, which happened in this particular situation. There are some properties that do go to the center line. So if that's the case, it would be 55 feet from the center of the road, based on the property line being the center of the road.
Okay, that wasn't real clear in the
You would use whatever one's greater, and that's the intent, and that's always the way that we've interpreted the ordinance. That's why they have 2. That's why it's spelled out 2 different ways. Because if you said it was 25 feet from the property line, they would take the property line as being as the center of the road. They would go 25 feet from the center of the road, and they would possibly still be within the servitude or the right of way of the road. So that way we make it, if it is to the center of the road, we make them go off 55 feet. so they clear the right-of-way and also any existing servitudes.
Okay.
So when y'all measured the 25 feet, where'd y'all come from? The side of the road or the center of the property? Whenever y'all were looking at 25 feet.
The 25 foot, because it was on the survey like that from the center of the road back, but we didn't put the house right there. We just went ahead and we knew we were well clear of it, we thought.
Okay.
We were well clear of the 25 foot.
Can
Okay.
I ask you something, ma'am? Y'all take, it's one big piece of land right now, and it looks like you're dividing it into two sections, right? Okay, I noticed that on looking from standing on the road, looking at the property, you have your 5 foot setback lines around your MODAD system and everything. You all located there and everything. Okay, I noticed you have a trailer on the left-hand portion of the property, and you have an extension that also clears that 5 foot servitude, right? I mean setback line. Okay.
Yes.
Lance, one question to you. On your comment, you stated that we give the recommendations to approve this variance. And can you enlighten us a little bit on your reasonings for that?
Yeah, the reasons why I stated, I think they're approved based on unique circumstance of the home being existing and also being that it's you need to be 55 feet from the center of the highway, and they're, what is that, 50 feet, and basically the unique circumstance of the property being located in the center of the road.
Okay. You're asking for 3.9 from what I figured out. Would a full foot variance clear everything, including the overhang?
It would.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion.
We have to open the public hearing.
I'd always forget about that. I'm sorry.
It would clear it by 0.9 feet. So, right, is that correct?
Yeah, you got a 3.9.
Yeah. If we did 4.
Okay. Any more questions from the board? Like to open public hearing. If anybody has anything to say about this variance, please come forward and sign in by Lance. Nobody's running up to the podium, so I take that nobody wants to respond. So I'm closing public hearing. Do I hear a motion from this board?
Like to make a motion that we grant them their variance. They're asking for a 5 foot variance. If we give you a full foot variance, would that clear it?
Yes.
I'd like to make a
Well, it's got to
motion.
include overhang also.
That would include overhang, right?
Include the overhang.
Okay, I'd like
With the
to,
overhang, we're 3.9.
with the overhang.
I would say we're probably safe at 5, just so we don't
So
have to
That's
come
all we
back.
thought. Yes.
Okay, I'll add it 5 foot. My motion is to accept the variance as submitted for 5 foot variance from the property line, for the setback line from the center of the road.
I have a motion from Mr. Clulot about approving it as written. Second by Mr. Ty. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next zoning review ID is 2058.10. The remainder of the track 22-A-1-A Pelican Point Golf Community for Pelican Point Properties, located the south side of Courtyard Drive, approximately 300 feet west of Green Court. Is there anybody here to represent? Sign right there.
My name's Darvin Ferguson. I'm with Parish Engineering in Baton Rouge. We have been working on Pelican Point since its beginning, and anytime or most of the time the developer needs something done, he'll call us. He called us to look into re-subdividing this piece of property. There's an existing building on track G4, which is like a community rec center for the residents of the Greens. He later built this other building off to the side, I believe maybe indoor pool, I'm not really sure. And in doing so, they got into the sideline clearance. This was all existing when he called us in to take a look at it. But he wanted to re-subdivide this one large tract into two tracts, one to take in the building and the parking lot, and then to create a vacant tract. And the reason for doing this is that he wanted to transfer title of this property to the homeowners association for the greens that maintains and uses the property. And in order to do it, he needed a lot of record, to do that. And he ran into some problems with some clearances, side yard and rear yard clearances on the way that he wanted to subdivide it. So we were asking for a side yard variance between tract G5 and G4 to reduce it from 5 feet to 3 feet, which would clear the property line. And then on the rear of tract G5, there's an open porch on the back side of this building, and he was wanting to put the property line 10 feet off of the outside of that porch. And I believe the zoning requirements request 20 feet. So he was asking for a variance there to try to, this is such an irregular shaped piece of property that's going to be left over. It was irregular shaped to begin with, that he wants to try to maximize, the future use of it. And it is the same owner.
Okay. So there's nothing on track G6.
No, sir.
Okay. What's the hardship of coming back a little bit more if you're re-subdividing it already?
Just that it's an irregular shaped piece of property, and the more that we chop it, the less usable it becomes.
If I remember correctly, this came for a variance when it was being built. The track G4, building on G4, didn't that come to us for variance back
For a
then?
parking request, yes, sir.
We had to reduce the parking because
Yes,
you
sir.
wanted to put it in the building.
Yes.
There was a parking request, yes, sir.
I think the first time we were kind of lenient, and now here we're trying to reduce open space. Okay.
I wasn't aware of the first one. Sorry.
Okay.
The says that the property existing building is 3 foot already from the property line on the side setback?
That is
side
correct.
property line?
Yes, sir.
Was there a variance for that 3 feet or?
No, sir.
No, that's existing.
I
Any other
can't,
questions from board members?
Existing.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir.
The variance that you asked for the side variance is between track G4 and G5,
That's correct.
all the way around the side and the back, or just that side between the two buildings?
I think just that side between the two buildings is really all that he needs. It's just an irregular shaped piece of property. At one time, G4, I think the intent was that he was going to put a road all the way around track G4 and have lots fronting on it. And then somewhere along the line, that changed.
Yeah, now you're starting to bring that back as a memory because that was the issue. It wasn't being proposed what was presented to the people of the residents. And so the residents were here complaining because it wasn't what they were shown the first time before it actually came before us.
Is that right?
Yeah. Lance, you got something?
No, I'm sorry. I just want to clear Ty's question, I guess, of why that. What happened is that G4 wasn't existing at the time that the building was constructed on G5, so there was no line there.
Okay.
So to know that where that line was, it wasn't there at the time that building was constructed.
Okay.
That's what he's drawing in now. He's trying to split it right there.
Yeah.
What you saying? Okay.
And you mentioned that it would be the same owner of all this property?
Right. The use and the ownership would be the homeowners association for the greens in Pelican Point. So if you drive by and you look at it, it looks like all this is just one development. The two buildings kind of complement each other. The parking lots actually tie into each other.
Okay, I'm going to ask you maybe a direct question. Why is it necessary that you need a rear setback? Explain that to me
Okay,
again, please.
the shape of
Very
the property, is this was like the back corner of this whole piece of property.
Okay.
And it's very irregular shaped. If we cut into track G5 G6, with this new property line, the more you chop it, the less usable it becomes. And like I said, he is the developer. This tract is totally fenced off with a wood fence. You can't see through it. I don't think it really affects any of the adjoining properties.
Again, I don't understand. Again, maybe it's me. I'm a little drifty, but I don't understand why you need a rear setback.
Variance.
In other words, we're not seeing a recognizable hardship.
There's no hardship.
There's no
No
hardship
unique
there.
circumstances.
I mean,
He's just trying to get as much.
all you're going to do is
Yeah.
transfer the title of this property to the homeowners association, right?
That's correct.
And
It's not to
nothing's
sell
going to
it.
be built on it anyhow. Is that correct?
On this tract G6?
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't,
there's
I
gonna be
don't
something
know
built on
what
it.
the intended use for that tract
He might
was.
subdivide.
We have to assume, though, it will be houses butting up against this, or condos, or something to match whatever else is going there.
And I don't know, and I can't answer that. I'm not the owner.
Which tract then would be transferred to the homeowners association?
5 and 4.
Tract G4 and G5
Correct.
would be transferred to the homeowners association.
That's right.
And then tract G6 would then be the developer's piece of property, which then he would develop it. Do you have any idea what he's planning on developing there?
No, sir, I don't.
Another
And he's
question-
asking for a 10-foot variance
Yeah.
on between tract G5
And 6.
and G6. Instead of a 10, he's showing a 10-foot on the map right now, I believe, and he's wanting, it's a requirement of a 20-foot, and he's asking for a 10-foot. Am I correct?
That is correct, yes, sir.
Another thing, too, is...
And like I said, that building that's there, it's not a solid wall. It's an open porch. So it's not like the building is that close to the property line. The roof may be.
Yeah.
My other question is, because a lot of this could have been eliminated before even coming here, but both the G5 and G4 are being transferred to the homeowners association. The same homeowners association or two different homeowners associations?
Those are the same one.
Why wouldn't you just do
I
that one
think
track?
G4 may already be in the name of the homeowners association.
Okay, because I mean, if it was one track, then you wouldn't have to worry about the 3-foot side variant.
Well, that was my suggestion to the developer in the beginning. There's different mortgage companies involved. Then when the developers build on one tract, they may go to one mortgage company. They build on another tract, they get the money from a different one. So you can't just swap property lines without affecting the mortgage.
I got a question for Laverne. Laverne, what would be the impact if this was granted, if the developer built on the tract G6? What would be, in other words, if they would just come up there, let's say put a bunch of apartments and everything, it could be 10 feet from that building,
Right.
correct?
Yeah. The concern for the building department would be fire protection. Distance is the greatest, prevention of fire is distance. And that would be considered, what we're speaking here is a zoning requirement that, as building department, we support the zoning group. Basically, just fire protection, what we're looking at during the building, and the ordinance says 20 feet, so that's why the gentleman's here today to ask for a variance. Apparently, these was all open, particular lots at the time, and now they want to divide it up to make room for whatever new building's going to come in there. We would make them require at least a minimum 10 foot from the property lines. If they're going to build a townhouse or something like that, would give a 20-foot separation between both buildings if a 10-foot variance was granted.
So right now, if the variance was not granted, it would be 30 feet if they were to build on that piece of property, right?
Could be, depending on what we're going to require as a back or front of this property with the building.
Okay, because if it would become the front of the property, then it would be a 25-foot from the new property line.
Well, I'm not sure how they would divide it up.
Right, you see, that's my question. In other words,
right.
it's the back of one property, but it could be the front of the other piece,
It
which
certainly-
then that requires a
certainly could.
25-foot setback line.
Right.
thing about this is the property is vacant as it is right now, and as it is right now, there's no plans to develop the property. So I'm reluctant to sit here and try to play in my mind, what could they possibly do with the property, after it would be subdivided. I can't do that.
But not only that, but my issue, is more of, we reduced parking a long time ago, even with this big piece of property right behind it, to make use, of this area, because we were told that trying to compact it. So here we are trying to compact even more the second go round.
I understand you.
So if there's no other questions, let's hold until after the public hearing. But I'd like to open it up for public hearing.
Go ahead.
If you give us a sec, we're going to open up for public hearing. If you'd like to speak on this matter, please come sign in at the front by Lance right here, and we'll give you 3 minutes.
Thank you, gentlemen. My name is Lynn Marino. I live in the Greens. I've been there 3 years now. I attended the last hearing we had on the parking because we are in a 55 and older community, and most people can't walk to where this facility is. They have to drive their cars. Well, the argument Mr. Diaz put up was that he wanted green space. Well, whatever happened to that argument, now that he wants to take this property and possibly develop something behind it. Now, this community center that he's talking about, when I agreed to build my house, that was part of an amenity we were told that we had, and we paid dues for that amenity. Well, as it has turned out, it has taken us 2.5 years to get this lease straight, but it was not conveyed to us because the property description was so convoluted that we couldn't even get what tract of land it was, what lot it was. You can imagine the position that leaves the homeowners in. The second thing was he finally decided that he would lease this property to the Homeowners Association for 1 year for $10. He was to furnish it, which was part of the amenities. We ended up having to furnish it ourselves. We are now in a position where we do not own this. We are leasing it. In a year, who knows what might be said. We feel that in order to keep the traffic down and people, we have 100 people in there now paying for what was supposed to be a 400 property development. But I don't think that would be the spots. He had talked about townhouses before. And I ask each and every one of you, I have come from Metairie in New Orleans. We came up here to be in a more country environment. We're all happy here. We love Gonzales. Please don't take away any more of our green spaces, because that was Mr. Diaz's argument, that he wanted us to have enough green space. We are very concerned what will go on those properties when the property is given this allowance. First of all, we couldn't identify. You all mentioned I'm asking, how could G4 never exist? How could a tract of land that size, has it ever been on the tax rolls? We don't know if tax was ever paid. We don't know if we had a permit to build on there. And that's what we are asking you all to please protect us from and look after us. We represent a large community that helped to elect you all to your positions. We're 55 and older, and we ask you to please make all these considerations. This is one developer who owns a tremendous amount of property, all up Airline Highway and all. If he wants to put in some townhouses more, we ask that you would ask him to consider to do it elsewhere. Thank you. Do you want to ask me any questions?
Any questions from the
I
board?
have no questions.
No.
Very
Thank
clear.
you.
Thank you.
My concern would be the fact that he's wanting to reduce in the back of the property, which should have.
Let me see if there's anybody else. Is there anybody else that'd like to speak?
It wasn't signed up.
Okay, I'm closing public hearing. Okay, now.
My question is, or my concern is, he's reducing the back of the property by 10 feet, but then by not knowing what he's going to do with the rest of the property, it could also become the front part, which then would require an additional 25 feet. So in other words, it's 35 feet that, to me, from what I see, technically speaking, it should be 25 feet into tract G6 if that's the front of the property, and then 20 feet from the property line on G6 to G5. So, I mean, I have a problem with that he's reducing that much.
The only thing I see is technically it really didn't even have to come here. If you had one track for G4 and G5 and then you just moved your property line back, there was no need to come to this meeting. You know, I understand mortgage differences, but all buildings are built, right? The one on G5 and G4? Mortgage company wouldn't have built on something they didn't know what the property line was. You know, so G4 building and the one that's, is that a building on it?
It's an
G5.
existing building, yeah.
Existing
By
building.
the porch,
would be.
yeah.
So there's buildings on both properties,
That's what it's showing.
you know, so technically the mortgage has its tract, you know, whatever was built before the
I
property
didn't-
was, so.
I
don't-
tend to agree with you. I don't think a bank would mortgage anything without knowing where the property line was. I don't think we're getting the whole picture here.
I think we'll get set up.
I think we just need
Go ahead.
Any other questions? I'm sorry, man, we've already closed public hearing. Thank you. You want to rebut on anything that was said from the,
Well, I
Public
just
hearing?
want to mention that this piece of property, Parish Engineering did not create this piece of property. We were involved in the courtyard. We were involved in the later filings of the Greens. And one of the problems was that this piece of property, the other engineers that did the work in this area, never assigned this any kind of designation or anything. So in answer to her question about not being able to find a description, I agree. It was just a lost piece of property, but we did not create that problem. And we were only working with Doug Diaz to try to straighten this mess out.
I got one more question for you, sir.
Yes, sir.
The homeowners association would receive G5 and G4. Am I correct?
That is my understanding, yes, sir.
Why, where the post office box or the mailbox is located, why can't it be redone to where that's, like Mr. Walker said, that would be one piece of property turned over to the homeowners association, then the odd-shaped piece on G6 then comply to the guidelines of the parish ordinances as far as setback lines.
Yeah, and I don't know that I can answer that. All I know was in talking with Mr. Diaz was that he wanted to leave tract G4 intact, just like it was. It's an existing tract of land.
It cuts in at 2 points. I'd like to make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion that we deny these variants until we get further information. I'm like you. I can't see. I'd like to make a motion that we deny the variance.
and once you deny, they have to reapply, and they can't reapply for the same amount. So I'm just letting you know that, so. Do I hear a second?
Do we have any? And I'm open to another motion to give it.
Well, first of all,
Well, the side setbacks are fixed. I mean, the side setbacks are fixed by the building, so we're,
I mean, there's always ways. I mean, it could be 2'9".
oh.
Can I ask something? If we just went with the side yard variance and put the 20 feet in there, the 20-foot rear yard, would that please the board? I mean,
to be honest with you, I agree with what he says here. I don't agree with the rear setback at all.
Yep.
Zero, period. I do agree with the side setback. I just don't see any reason for a rear setback.
Well, the only thing I see on
Variance,
the
yeah.
side is that it's 3 feet. And if this ever becomes two different property owners, you got 3 feet from that side of that building to that property line. You know, we never know what's going to happen in the future.
And like Laverne said,
I'd rather if somebody buys it, somebody would buy the whole thing, not just one G4.
that's my motion.
Is the issue, and that way you wouldn't have to worry about the distance from there. Somebody put a fence up along the property line.
Now, I think it would solve some of the problem for the homeowner association and down the road when it comes down, if they would have wanted to do with it, if they own it or whatever, it would help them, to me.
Do you know the distance between the two corners of these two buildings on the one on G5 and the one on G4 at the closest point?
Well, we're showing a 20-foot building line, and it looks like it's close to 20 feet. I would imagine it would be about 25 feet at the shortest route from corner to corner.
I still have a motion to deny. Anybody want a second, or does it want to fail for a second?
I withdraw my motion.
Complete denial.
Like it was second.
Motion's been withdrawn. Does anybody have a different motion they want to make?
I'd like to make a motion that we grant the side setback and deny the rear setback.
Let's hear a second.
I second that.
I'll second it.
Yeah.
Motion by Mr. Tyler Glue to approve the side setback and deny the rear setback. And seconded by Mr. Jim Cecil. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those against? One motion passed. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next, zoning review ID 2059.10, lot 188, trailer land for Danny Gotro Sr., located on the east side of Donna Street, approximately 500 feet north of Pauline Street. Please sign in, sir, and then state what you're trying to do.
My name is Danny Gotro, and I'm the owner of the lots that we're talking about. It's lot 188, and next to us is 187, which my wife and me both have a lot, but it's in separate names. But I know this is nothing fancy, but what it is, we 4 inches too close on the north side where we moved our trailer for my daughter here with a young daughter. And we're 11 feet too close to the back fence, which is an open cow pasture. And then we're 19 foot exactly from the front of the trailer to the edge of the road. I didn't measure to the middle of the road, but I'm pretty sure it's 24 to 25 feet. And on the south side is towards where me and my wife have our trailer. And they've already had their trailer put down, and I mean, we have anchors in the cement and everything else, and we're talking about inches. And my daughter has a young baby that's going to be 4 months old, and they've been there for 2 months now, since January, and we've been supplying them with electricity by putting in electricity, and I'd like to see it, get a variance so they could be able to stay. I mean, this baby needs a place to live, and they have nowhere else to go. And I mean, if we got pictures here showing a couple trailers right next to us that is much closer to the road than what they are, much closer to the power lines. And if y'all could show it, you can see.
That's our trailer right there. That's how close we are to the road. This is the trailer that's on the side of him. They're way closer than us. But they have everything. Yeah.
Showing that.
Do you have a picture of lot 189?
No, we don't have a picture of our house. That's one picture we didn't take.
Are you on lot 189?
No, they're on 188, but the 189 is right next to it.
Yeah, that's my wife's
infringing.
lot. But I mean, I live with my wife on that lot.
I thought you said 187, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I thought you said 187.
I made a mistake. I'm sorry.
The issue that we're
Oh.
having is the 2 foot 11. I can tell you that right up
Yes,
front.
yes.
From
The
the
side
side.
setback is too close.
The other ones aren't as much of an issue as it is 2 foot 11 from the side. And so, if that's the case, then we need to know what's on that side, on the other side of that fence.
189.
On 189.
That's
That is my cousin's property, and I have his okay on this piece of paper here stating it's okay for us to have the trailer there. And the man next to us that owns that trailer that's closer to the front of the road gave me the okay of us being the way we are. And we wasn't aware of the circumstances when we moved the trailer there. We didn't know that they had a new law took effect in '99. Because our trailer was in exactly the same spot before we moved to, the next lot over.
Was it the same size trailer?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The 16 by 80.
Okay.
You say you had an existing trailer at that same location?
Yes, sir.
Same size, everything?
Same size and everything. We had an existing, yeah. Yes, sir. We've been back there for 20 years.
And you say you've been in the trailer for 2 months now?
Yeah, they've been in the trailer for 2 months. And
Plumbing's hooked up, electrical?
no, they don't have nothing hooked up because that's why we're here. We're trying to get a variance so we can get them to live in, you know what I mean?
You said they were living in it, right?
Yeah, we're
Correct?
living in there, but not with electricity or anything.
But you said you're supplying the electricity to that trailer.
Yeah, through extension cord.
Yeah. No hot water or nothing.
They don't have no hot water because we can't get the variance to where it is. They stopped us cold.
I've dug the trench and all for the underground power. I've done ran all the piping on, and then this coming.
And the sewer system looked like, I visited the site and I looked at it and I took some pictures, and it looks like the sewer system is hooked up and everything.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What is the line that's in that ditch on the opposite?
That's going to be underground electrical line and cable.
Who is that serving? What?
That's going to be serving their trailer.
And it's on the other side of the property line. It's on another person's property line.
Yeah, it's all my property. Both lots are mine. I mean, it's me and my wife's property, is what I'm saying. This is my daughter.
Yes,
We
sir.
moved her trailer on there to let her live on our property because, I mean, when we pass away, it should undoubtedly go to her and my other son. So there's going to be a GoTro living there, for a long time. And I've got my electrical passed. They came and looked out at that and said it was passable. So all we need is the variance.
Did they give you a permit? Did
Yes,
they
sir.
give you an actual permit?
Yes, sir.
And you've passed that?
Yeah, we passed the man that came out there said it was passed. There was no problem.
It would pass or it did pass?
It is passed.
So the electricity is
Yes,
hooked
sir.
up, just not turned on?
It's just it's not hooked up.
He said that the trench was deep enough. That's the only thing that was talked about, that it was good.
That was passable, that he will go to that. All we need to do is get the variance so we can put the box on the pole and get them fired up so they can have some heat and, hot water. And like I said, we supplying an extension cord for them, to have a little life there, Besides that, there's no electricity or hot water.
Now, let me ask you, you say you own the property looking at the trail from the road, you own the property to the left or to the right?
We own, my wife's father bought her a lot next to the one that they're on,
Yes, sir.
okay?
Yes,
And
sir.
my father bought me the lot and gave it to me, and it's under my name, and my wife has a lot under her name, but we made it just one property, in other words,
But my question to you is, looking at the trailer, with the fence that's on the side of the trailer, do you own, is it in your family, both where the trailer is and then the trailer where you buried the line at?
Yes,
that,
sir.
That's, okay,
Yes, sir.
so that is your property.
That's my
In other
property.
words, I'm talking about this piece of land here and this piece of land here.
That piece of land in the back, that's,
In other words, this is the front of the property from the road right here. This is the trailer.
okay, to the left, that's my cousin's property, my cousin's property right there.
Is your cousin here tonight?
No, he couldn't come. He's disabled. But I have his mark on the paper y'all sent him as okay in it. And the guy to the right is Harry, but I don't remember his last name, but he gave me the go-ahead on that, too.
I got a question. This is for Mr. Laverne. What does our building codes say about this as far as the fire codes? Does it incorporate by reference NFPA 501A or NFPA 5000?
Well, actually, we regulate the separation of properties by zoning, the setbacks and building lines. The zoning doesn't say anything on fire protection for as that zoning, but that's the intent of the zoning code, to correlate with building regulations. We don't have that particular section that you just quoted in our building code. That's the NFPA, which apparently may be in a fire code that is not adopted by the state of Louisiana other than the state fire marshal's office.
Well, that's what I was looking at. I was looking at the state fire marshal's office.
Right.
And,
They don't regulate residential.
24 CFR 3285 incorporates NFPA 501A, the 2003 edition, and where it says fire separation distances shall comply with local rules or regulations. In their absence, NFPA 5000 building construction and safety code shall apply.
Right.
That's a state regulation.
Certainly, but NFPA 5000 is not adopted code of the state of Louisiana. It's the International Residential Code that this falls in. Mm-hmm. And some of these measures that you're speaking of are for commercial. And the properties that we're speaking of, probably I could clear something up a little bit for you. He has another residence on lot 87 and 187 and 188 that is parallel with the road. That's his residence that he resides in presently.
Okay.
Mr.
187?
It actually goes on both lots, parallel with the road.
Okay.
The mobile home in question is the new resident that was placed in there. I don't know what period of time that he relocated his present home from that position and moved it over there. Perhaps you can ask the gentleman. But the new resident was placed in there. To my knowledge, she said he got a permit. Now, my question is, I'm not, and I guess this is egg on my face to tell you whether it's been actually inspected. I went out there personally. I didn't go there for inspection. Perhaps one of my other inspectors, we have as many as 90, 100 inspections a day sometimes. But to my knowledge, I didn't think anyone went out there and did a true inspection for occupancy to the residents.
Well, the electrical, I'm not sure of the guy's name. I think it might be Lance somebody, but no, it wasn't. It was a guy that on where the barn is used to call the barn anyway. Well, he's the one that came out and inspected the electrical because I told him I was going underground.
That was me. I went there, but that wasn't for that type. He asked me questions on would that be okay to run it in that fashion, that distance from the mobile home. That's when we noticed that the building was close to the property line, and we reported that back to Lance. And Mr. Gotro was something to come in and
we exactly
come to here. But there was no real inspection done on the mobile home.
We're exactly 41 inches from that fence. And beyond that fence on that side, on the north side of that fence is my cousin's, my second cousin's property.
And that's the one we're looking at, a piece of conduit or
that's where you ran the electric
water line or electric line?
No, it's not on his side. Or not, no.
Shows something in it.
It's not on his side of the property.
Would you please come forward, sir?
Sure.
Tell me, this is the trailer. This is the property in which you're talking about.
Yeah, the conduit is run from here. See where this post is?
Okay, this is not your. This is not the conduit.
No, sir. That has nothing to do with me. That's my cousin's land there.
All right.
See, my conduit comes from that back pole here, underground, and comes to the front of the trailer.
All right.
public.
That's
the
a
legal
lot.
distance before having to get a second pole is 85 feet, and I'm way less than 85 feet from that pole.
Okay. If y'all could have a seat, we're going to open up public hearing and see if anybody else has anything to say. I'd like to open up a
Thank
public
y'all very
hearing.
much.
If anybody would like to comment on this agenda item, please come up here to the front, sign in.
Close.
And y'all must all be waiting for the last one.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, nobody wants to speak, then we'll close public hearing. Any discussion or motions?
I got one question for Laverne. You said you're 41 inches from the property line to the edge of the trail?
To the
Yes,
fence.
sir, on the north side, 41 inches. That's where my, actually, we got about a foot in between, because I got a wooden gate, and then he's got a hurricane defense. And we got about 1 foot in between the fences, so.
And that's in that 41 inches, right?
Actually, if you added a foot to it, would be another foot, to the actual,
So it'd be 51, in other words, from the actual property line to the edge of the trail, it would be 51 inches, right?
yes, sir.
That's 9 inches. From 9 inches, you're intruding into the building sideline by 9 inches, then is what you're saying.
Well, no, I'm not intruding. I'm just saying we have about a foot between our fences. I chose to bring my foot on my fence over a foot.
From the property line to the edge of the trail, what is that distance?
I got 41 inches. 53 inches.
Wait, now, you saying, one's saying 41, one's saying 53.
Milton, I don't think we need to go directly into inches in this.
Yeah.
We have to
I'm just-
rely on what staff has provided as far as the dimensions.
But
be
Mr.
verified.
Chairman, that may help, though, if it's quite a bit of difference, well, then I would have a problem, but if it's only inches,
Yeah.
and he's asking for a variance, then I have another issue with that.
Did you close the public hearing?
Yes.
And they have their anchors down and cement and everything in front.
You know, gentlemen, the only problem I have, and I agree, that it's a safety issue. With what I hear from all the fire departments, complaints from the fire departments, one of the thing is if you're sitting, 2 foot away from the back fence, and these guys have to go in, they're responsible for one, saving lives, because there's enters and exit door, and it looks like the exit door is up pretty close to that fence.
Right.
And the only problem I have here is I'm putting a firefighter that we have to rely on in danger. And this really truthfully could have been avoided. So right now I'm having a real hard time with the side setback. I really don't have a problem. I agree with staff. I don't have a problem with the front or the rear, but that side's killing me because that fence is going to get a firefighter hurt. I'm just saying, God forbid it never happens and all that other stuff.
Is that a
But
motion
I'm saying, I'm okay.
or a speech? One, two.
I'm going to go ahead. If everybody's shaking their head and they're kind of agreeing with me, I'm going to go ahead and make the motion that we agree with the front and rear setbacks, that we approve the variance, but deny that side based on, the safety of the joining, actually the safety of personnel and property.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that. I think it's,
Okay. I have a motion by Jim Cecil to grant the. I have a motion to grant the rear and front setbacks as stated, and to deny the side setback. All those in favor?
aye.
All those against?
Aye.
Motion passed and denied. Next zoning review ID 2060.10, track 1 of the Renee M. Williams property for Renee M. Williams, located on the south side of Highway 935, Stringer Bridge Road, approximately 300 feet west of Tanas Road. All those in... Go ahead, stage.
Go ahead.
I'm just ready to do another motion.
I'm willing to take that any day.
Go ahead and state.
Good evening. I'm Clint Quintmall, representing W.J. Quintmall Surveyors, asking for variances on the nonconformity of the front setback lines along the proposed rec road on track 1A, and to reduce the 25-foot setback line along rec road to a 15-foot setback due to the width of the private access servitude. Originally, when the private access servitudes, we weren't required to have building lines. This came up when I submitted this plat for the first time to the family partition monthly meeting. We were never required to do that before, and the planning department made a stand to start requiring the setback lines on private servitudes of passage, and therefore created these nonconformities. This wasn't an issue that we ever came across before, as well as just a little history on the property. The owners, Renee Williams, purchased the property and looking to do a family partition and have their family members move on to these lots. They're all of adequate size, acre or more.
Okay, before we get started, I just need to make sure all the board knows that there was a conflict with Lance in the room, so I've asked Lance to leave the room. So we'll have to, as far as staff, rely on Patrice and Mr. Laverne. Do I have any questions?
I'm still looking at it. I didn't have a whole lot of time to look at it today.
Yeah, it's the last one.
One question I have, you stated that was family, but on here we're showing that it's rental property.
We do have some renters on the front portion of the property. The owner is going to retain that in order not to just kick these people out on the street. They have been renting before the people purchased this property to be subdivided into the family partition. So just not to kick these people out on the street, they have agreed to allow them to keep renting until some determined time. But the intent is to all have family members at some point in time live on this property. But of course, you know, they don't want to kick people
Now,
out
in the
on the
past, when
street.
we've done family partitions involving mobile homes, we put a restriction they can't be rental property for family partitions if they're stating that. So once we state that, then you could not have a rental property. Would that be a consideration on these? I'm just stating to you what we've done in the past. If it does get approved, we've always added stipulations about them not being rental properties.
Yeah, if you want to add that to the variance, that would be fine. I mean, that would alleviate a problem to the monthly meeting, wouldn't it? I hear what you're saying, because I'm not here to ask about rental property. I'm here for the variance on the setback lines causing the nonconformity. Because these people already went to the planning department. The planning department directed them to subdivide the property in this form and fashion. They followed their recommendations. They knew the situation.
Okay. Question?
In other words, all lots would be within the family?
Correct. Renee Williams, the current owner, is going to retain the 1A. And then there are no structures on 1B through 1F. And those are where the family members intend to build their homes.
Family members?
Yes. And as you know, son, granddaughter, grandson, son, and son on the last track.
Okay, this, again, I'm looking, as Chairman had just stated, usually when it says family members, you know, that's because the grandmother or aunt, uncle, sister, whatever, needs a place to stay. You've already got in the front, and you're, like you asked, you're only here for the variance, and the variance is requiring that you have an access road. Okay, coming off of Stringer Bridge Road. Is that correct?
Yeah, the access road, the setback lines from the access road, private road, which was never required prior to this plat, has been required by the planning department.
The only problem I see here, and I also visited this property, The only problem here is you have a mobile home, a resident, a wooden home, another mobile home, a couple sheds, and you have actually another parked trailer out there with a actual, septic. It's not hooked up, but the septic tank is there, and that's just right off the property line there. So what I'm saying is, you're telling me that you can guarantee that this is going to be family and not a way to make a trailer park or a rental trailer park.
Absolutely. We could have simply submitted this as a simple partition with a variance. I wasn't required to submit it as a family partition. That was directed by the planning department to submit it this way. Now, we could have easily submitted it as a simple partition with a variance if that was the issue, if the planning department would have deemed it an issue at the time, but they did not. They instructed my client to subdivide it this way. And there is a track, if you notice, on the east side, Renee Williams, there is a trailer that is on that particular lot is being remodeled, does not plan to get permitted and put on that lot. It's just being stationary to be remodeled and then moved. I'm not sure if you're talking about that particular trailer being hauled to the property, or because all these are existing renters on track 1A.
Well, maybe I was confused, but I do see a septic tank placed in there, and that's why I was asking.
Do you have any more questions? Are you with him?
This is the owner, yes. This is
Okay.
one of
Yeah.
these.
The owner's my mom, and I parked the trailer there just to be remodeled because I don't have the money. Me and my wife want to build, and we don't have the money just to come out and build. We already own a home. We have to sell our home before we can build a home, And this was kind of like I got this trailer, just kind of like fix it up, moving that while I build a home. That way I can take the money from the sale of my original home to build with. And so I parked it there just on her land, so I have somewhere to fix it up, because I acquired it from a friend, and he was like, as long as you get it off my property, it's yours, So I just moved it there temporarily. The septic tank, there is a septic tank underneath it that goes to an existing trailer that's been there for, 20 years or whatever, as long as I can remember. And I didn't even know it was there. Whenever they moved this one on it just to park it temporarily, they kind of went close to it, so it exposed it a little bit, and then we fixed that and we covered it up. And that's the only reason that the septic tank was an issue, and the septic tank is functional, working for the other residents. It just happens the pipe comes out and actually goes underneath where this one trailer, a temporary trailer, was parked. So that's the whole septic tank issue.
My issue, though, is on this plot plan that we have, there are basically three. One's a mobile home with a deck and carport. Another one's a wooden residence, and that's on Old Track 1. And then there's a mobile home with deck on Old Track 2, which is going to be divided into Track 1A, it looks like, which will have basically three residents on it. Where is the temporary trailer?
It's on another lot down the side street is what this temporary trailer is all about. That's from my understanding, the trailer that was pulled on here, I'm guessing.
Okay. Because one of the issues I think y'all having a problem with the variance is that when you make that first track 1A into one, looks like it's going to be one lot.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really have three different families living on one lot. So you're asking for a variance of multiple people living on a lot, which usually indicates some type of additional trailers and things like that required.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Not really. What we're trying to do is really gain access to the vacant land in the back. So we can, me and my brother and my sister, and therefore, can utilize this land, because right now it's not, it's not being utilized at all. My mother originally purchased 8 acres to give 2 acres to her and 2 acres to each one of her kids. And talking with the surveyors and everything, he said, look, the rules change, you can go down to 7 units if you want to. And I said, look, all we need is what we got, so we're not asking for the max here. We're just asking for, what the family can use, and all the stuff in the front, my mom take care of that, whatever. We're just looking to get access to the back, so we can use this vacant land that's not being used.
Clint, can I ask you a question?
Sure thing.
Which lot they're talking about is the temporary trail on right now?
That's the one he's.
It's one of them in the back. Which one is it on?
Sultanas Road to the east. If you see Renee Williams as an adjoiner, yeah, see that on the east, up by 935.
Mm-hmm.
I show Renee Williams on track 1A, which is
Okay,
the
look
one right
to
there
the
on
east.
Stringberry Road.
To the east. Go east.
Oh.
See it there?
Can you come see Clint? It's not even on the property he's talking about.
No, it's not on the property we're talking about.
It's not.
Oh, you're saying it's on this property over here.
Mm-hmm.
It's on this property right there.
Okay.
All he's asking is just the
I guess
access right away to the.
this is not going to become a trailer park where you can have a bunch of trailers and then you can start renting to people.
No, if that was the intent, we would have tried to maximize the maximum number of lots here. These are 1 acre or 2 acre lots. These are large lots for nice homes. They bought this original intent to have their family live here, not to build a trailer park. And it's certainly not the intent. The renters were existing already. They didn't move these renters on here. They were existing when they bought the property.
If y'all sit aside for a sec, we're going to open it up for public hearing. Any of those that wish to talk about this agenda item, please come sign in right here, and you're allotted 3 minutes.
Does Tanis Road right along here? All these addresses are Tanis Road. Does the road? It's over here. Okay, so this is not a road.
Ma'am, please state your name, and if you live around this property, just state where you live at.
Yes, sir. My name is Kelly Gonzalez. We live off of Oliver Road, which is off of Tanis, and we live on a family partition property as well. So we understand the value of having family land in the rural property, and we respect that, and we have no problem with family moving into a property. But I feel that the way in which they are doing this is breaking the code of the parish. We've taken some pictures of the property here, and here is where their current rental property is. This is where the White House is. But they also have a trailer pad already in place behind the property. So I don't know if their intention is to pull in another trailer in addition to this property. If the property is divided into this variance, there'll be 3 properties on this lot of land. Current code says only 2 dwellings can be on 1 lot. So if that is divided into 1 variance in 1 lot, there would then be 3 properties on that 1 lot. So, why are we granting the variance? Is there a hardship there if it's a rental property? To me, that's not a hardship if you're profiting off of it. A couple of other issues that we saw, according to our parish ordinances as well, any property that has 2 or more trailers on it is considered a mobile home park. So if that property is considered into a lot, it has 2 mobile homes on it, then it should follow the 49 pages of codes that go along with a mobile home park. There's the green trailer that he is moving in. We're also concerned with the density. If you look at the property, there are 3 trailers very close to each other. The green trailer right here is not living in. That's the one with the septic tank. There is a yellow rental property right here. It's a yellow mobile home. There's also the mobile home here, which has the cover, the white property, the White House, and then this other mobile home, which is here. So in this small area of land, it is extremely dense, how many properties they are putting in. So those are the concerns that we have, many of the concerns that we have. Also on this piece of property is a low-lying piece of property. When there's just even a medium-sized amount of rain, this property goes underwater. By adding more pressure on this property, what's going to happen to the drainage for the existing residents of this area? And so these are just the concerns that we have, as we subdivide it and as we get, more residents on this one property.
Do you have any questions?
I have none for her.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
My name is Jody Rumfeller. I live on Oliver Road also. And in the situation, what I see looks like going on to me, he's asking for a variance to use that as a loophole to put a trailer park in there, is what he's doing. He's already got several rental properties right there. He's got a trailer sitting waiting that he said he's not doing anything but remodeling, but it's blocked up, ready to go. He's got a pad that's been dug out, ready for another trailer. I mean, to me, and he's got 8 acres of property behind that. He wants a variance so he can put a road in there to put more trailers in there. He's trying to make a trailer park, and he's using this as a loophole to get around the procedures and guidelines that you follow for a mobile home park. And I just don't think it's right.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Robin Trahan. I live on the piece of property that connects to all of this property, and I'm flooding now. If they build up, I don't stand a chance. I've already had the city out, my sewer in front of me, the ditch in front of my property, it's not draining. I mean, it just will not drain. So, I mean, if he builds up, I don't stand a chance. We can't go in the yard now. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Katie Sheets. My husband and I are residents of Oliver Road. One of the concerns that I'd like the board to think about when concerning these rules and regulations is the property of our value. We recently just built a home, and to get the mortgage company to give us the money we wanted for this home, it was a fight because of the area that we're in. If our home was built in a subdivision, then it would have been worth the money that we asked for. Thankfully, things work out. We could build the house we want. My fear is the more mobile homes we move in, the more subdividing of the land and the less rural our area becomes, our property value is going to go down. And that's just something I would like y'all to take into consideration. We take pride in our homes where there's, we do live in a family partition. And if you ever come down Oliver Road, you'll see we all fix our yards up. We take pride, and we just don't want to see renters that come in and that's not their home, and they may not have the pride and everything like we do. And if he's saying the green trailer isn't permanent, why is there a concrete pad? I watched him pour. If it's not permanent, why would you pour a concrete pad next to it if you're just cleaning it out? That's a concern I have. Also, according to Section 17-2046 of the Development Code, all mobile homes must have a permanent foundation system and must be anchored. Mobile homes must also have skirting in place on all sides of the base unit. The current mobile homes on this site do not meet this criteria, and I do have. And this mobile home right here, and this one, and
Well, forget about the green one for right now. Show me.
this is the mobile home that is on this side of the White House.
To the right of the White House.
Okay.
And it's already in place, which I believe was moved in recently, and I'm not sure if family or renters are living there right now. I know that this trailer right here that's in place, that's where renters are, and it also doesn't have the skirting around. So this is the property 1, 2, and 3. And so we just would like y'all just to, take into consideration. Also, we have numerous members of our neighborhood here, and we would have more if we wouldn't have just had a birth in our family. So I also would like that to be considered too. Thank y'all for your time.
Thank you.
How you doing, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
And board members? My name is Randy Cluott. I'm the councilman in District 6. Santa Mo area. I live down the road about half mile from down there. I also want to expound on what the residents have said so far, that our community is made up of families, 8, 10 generations, 5 generations, family petitions. I'm here tonight because I've had several calls, probably at least 20 residents around there, on both sides of Stringer Bridge Road from this property, on both sides of Tyne East Road, on Oliver Road, which is just an eighth of a mile down there, down Tyne East, and really questioning what's going on there. I have not been contacted by the Malonson family, but the fact is that what they're seeing is what has every aspect of a trailer park coming up there. I guess my questions are to the licensing board, to Laverne's group, is everything right there legal? And from what I understand, that we had somebody with zoning that had to step out, but we have other members of zoning, and the recommendations from zoning, I think were basically they weren't in favor of this. And I have yet to see the hardship on the petition, so I'm just speaking for those members. But if you move in my neighborhood, then I'll represent you then. Okay, I think you live on Perkins Road now, huh? All right, but your family's been there for a long time. So like I said, I'm speaking for a lot of folks that couldn't make it here tonight. And there's a lot of people that care, but don't care to get up in front of the microphone. You see me, I'm shaking a little bit myself right now, okay?
Yeah, right.
I believe in Santa Mo very much, okay? All right? And the fact is, this is what they're seeing. So, what's going on with it, family members, it seems to be renters on the property. I don't know that for a fact. I'm not going to make an accusation. That's what I'm being told by the people that are calling me, okay? And once more, at this point, I don't see, based on, in the audience, I got to take up for them because I sit in your seat most of the time. They don't get to see all the good pieces of paper, with the plot plan drawn out and things like that. So they expect you guys to take a good, clean look at it. And but they see the community every day that they pass, every day that they turn there, and they very much care about their community. And they have nothing against family, but they don't want to see anything derogatory come there if there is a true hardship, but at the time, not seeing the hardship. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I got one
Close.
question.
Closing public hearing. Would you like to rebut?
Yes. Start off with the concrete slab. The only concrete slab that I know anything about was what I've already told you. I guess there was a weak lid on the sewer tank, and whenever they parked the other one in there, which this is once again a piece of property, it's off to the side, not the property that we're asking about the small variance on. But whenever the trailer company pulled in wide, they chipped the edge of the sewer lid or whatever. So, hey, I wanted to build it back bigger and better than it was before. So I built a 4-foot by 4-foot square pad, a concrete pad, and put it over the sewer system or tank or whatever it is. And that's the only pad that that I've seen on this piece of property. That's only concrete pad there is.
So the pipe sticking up is going to be capped, right?
Oh, that's for sewer. Like if you have to clean it off, like clean it out. There you go, a sewer clean out.
What is your intention to do with the trailer that you're repairing? Leave it there, move it somewhere else, or put it on a piece of property, on that same piece of property?
I'm not sure what was going to happen with it, but maybe that's the wrong answer. Okay, this is like I said earlier. We don't have enough money we have to sell a house before we can build a house. I mean, maybe some of y'all can just buy 2 houses or whatever, but this is the best way for me to do it, okay? And it looks like this trailer, the one that's all, everybody's all crazy about because it's ugly and green, just paint it white, it looks a lot nicer. It's somewhere where I can temporarily stay while we build, And Now, whether it's on this piece of land or not, I mean, that's up to y'all. I can't buy two places, basically. So, like I said, this is a temporary place for me to stay, if I need to. So, and it's not going on where it's at right now, obviously, because there's not space or whatever. And like I said, that's a whole nother piece of property, not the variance that we're talking about right here. We're just looking to gain access to the backside of this piece of property, and the hardship is we can't access it right now to even build anything on it.
Do you have the option of removing one of the mobile homes to make it accessible?
I mean, yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, it was there before, so.
The problem I'm having with it is, you're not asking for a variance on the secondary family residence on the lot, which would be
old track
1 or old track 2 with the new track 1A. And what I'm getting at is you're asking for non-conforming variance for the setbacks for the access road, but I don't believe we can grant a variance and by doing so intentionally create another non-conforming situation. And that's what would be happening here is, as the tracks are laid out currently, they do conform. With the what is it, medium intensity residence, about two residents.
What's rural zone?
Right.
Well, no, we would have to do two variances, one on the density of the people and then also the setbacks for the road.
That's what I get, two variances, one for density and one for setback.
But the problem is when we do that, you really are kind of changing the zone, having the two mobile homes on that property. Because technically that does become a mobile home park.
That's correct.
And so the variances that you're asking for us is the actual change the zone, which we can't.
We're not asking
this zoning does not allow mobile home parks.
We're not asking that. Okay. We're asking for the nonconformities because of the setback lines. The planning department had no comment on the existing structures there. Now, they do any structure that is put on any of these lots has to go through zoning and permitting. They don't just move them out there, set them up, and move people in.
They do, without talking to the zoning.
Well,
yes, we've had that before.
If they do, they should be fined, and they should be regulated. And they are, aren't they? That's correct. So it is handled.
Well, right, what I'm
we
saying,
do have a system that we work under to not allow trailer parks or anything. When CJ came and saw me, I had no inkling or any type of this being some kind of sneaky trailer park moving in kind of deal. Then he came to me and said, look, my mother bought this property. We're looking to move family on the rear of the lots. We need access back there. We're looking to get and move our homes and reside on this family. They're from this area. They're not moving in. They're from here.
Might I add that my great-grandpa is the Tawny's Road right there.
That is a great-grandpa.
I mean, my grandma lives down there. Both. Actually, I'm sorry. Sorry to interrupt, but yeah, Tawny's Road is like Miss Cloat was saying. It's family for me as long as I can remember. My grandma lives back there. She grew up back there. She was born in the house, not in the hospital, but in the house on that street. I'm sorry, not on that street. The house that's on the street now got moved. But family is, our utmost importance to us. My brother and my sister are both living down the street on the side, and they're paying rent. And this is a way that they don't have to pay rent anymore, and they can have that money that they were paying on rent to build something nice, instead of paying somebody else's note or whatnot,
So you're saying that each one of these lots, the back lots, will no mobile homes will be on them. It will be residential brick homes or whatever is compatible to that area will be homes. It won't be mobile homes on those vacant lots right now.
Let me say this before we get into the mobile home house thing, because I got a problem with that. I got a problem with saying, okay, I own a house, so you can't put a mobile home here because you can't afford it. I want to restrict your development to just houses. When people can't afford things, I feel for the young lady who was here, has to live in a trailer with no electricity and no hot water for a 5-month-old baby. And I have a problem with saying, well, we want to make sure that we have our houses and our trailers down Oliver and Tanis. I've done many of the family partitions there, and it's great that they have those family members in on Oliver and Tanis. That's great. I'm all for that. But I seem to have a problem with the accusation or the assumption that we're building a trailer park on 1-acre lots and 2 acres in the rear with family members. The rule requires zoning of 20,000 square feet, not 1 acre. These are large, considerable lots. Go to a subdivision. What are you going to buy? 3/8 of an acre? 1/4 of an acre? These are large family lots. Large. 1 acre. Bigger than a lot of lots on Tanis and Oliver. Just to be the truth. I'm a surveyor, I know. So, that's not the intention. The structures were there. The renters are there. If he can kick one of them out, so be it. We'll move one of the mobile homes to make it work. We still have to go to the planning commission with this. The only reason we were here is because the planning department said you have nonconformities because of the setback line. They said nothing about the renters on the front lot. Nothing was it in the comments. Now, obviously, if he can move one of these trailers off of there, so be it. Probably looks like we're going to need to because we're not going to get through the planning commission. But that wasn't the intent and never was the intent, nor did I ever get the feeling that this was intent to put a trailer park here. And as far as drainage, this is in this part of the parish, drainage is what it is. You can't tell me because you're going to build a house patch that you're going to flood your neighbor. It's a 1-acre lot. This property runs a considerable distance depth. The drainage issue, we need to get with our councilmen and start working on drainage if we got a drainage problem in this area, because it ain't because someone's going to move a trailer or a house on a lot. That's just ridiculous. I've never heard anything as ridiculous as that. It's in that flood zone. It's in that drainage district. We need to get on our councilmen to improve our drainage in this area. Well, but why is my client saying, well, we're going to use drainage as an issue to turn him down so he can't have a right to move on a piece of property where his family grew up when everybody else has their nice family partitions done? This is not a trailer park. Never was it intended. These are considerable sized lots, and he wanted to do that to keep the integrity of the property. It's overgrown, but of course he can't go through the expense of cleaning it up until he can actually subdivide it and have a lot to clean up. Now, I just want to express concern that is not the intention to have a trailer park here. It never was. They want to put their family because they want to have a right to move somewhere because they're from here. That's it.
Okay. Discussion, motion.
I truly don't see a hardship. I'm going to make a motion that we deny as written because of, I don't see whether there's any hardship in this particular case.
I hear a second.
Yeah, I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against?
You against or for?
No, I vote for it.
Okay. Motion is denied. Sorry. All right. Last thing on our item is to adjourn. Any motion to adjourn?
Motion. Got it.
Motion by Stephen McGowan. Second by Mr. Milton. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All right. We are adjourned.